The flight was delayed 47 minutes, which meant Chen had 47 minutes to ruin himself. He knew this about airports. They were incubators for bad decisions, the kind that felt like insight. Something about the liminal quality of terminals, the recycled air, and the ambient roar of people going somewhere else loosened the part of his brain that was supposed to maintain realistic expectations. He'd read somewhere that high-altitude pressure changes affected cognition even on the ground. He'd never verified this. He had, however, added it to a note titled Altitude Cognition, Startup Angle, 2 years ago. That note lived in the graveyard folder. Item 194. He had a window seat at gate B7. His laptop was open. His Slack had 42 unread messages, most of them about a roadmap review happening in 11 days. The meeting agenda sat in a browser tab. Patient and accusatory. He had not opened it. Instead, he'd opened a new document. The cursor blinked. He typed, Mood Adaptive Workout App. Kai sat back and looked at it the way you look at a scratch-off ticket before you scratch it, with the full knowledge that it probably isn't anything, but not quite ready to confirm that yet. A workout app that read your energy, integrated with your calendar, your sleep data, your screen time, knew when you were burned out, knew when you were wired, built the session around the person you were today. Not some ideal version of you that exercised at 6 a.m. and ate clean and didn't spend 45 minutes reading about altitude cognition at airports. It was, he admitted, a real problem. He had a Whoop. He had a Garmin. Neither of them cared that he was exhausted on Tuesdays specifically because of standing Monday syncs that always ran long. They just noted his elevated resting heart rate with the cheerful indifference of machines. He wrote 3 more lines, a feature list. The word adaptive appeared 4 times. Then he stopped. He'd been here before. Not gate B7 specifically, though statistically, given his flight schedule, probably there too. But here, in this exact psychological neighborhood, the place where the idea felt like momentum, where naming a thing felt like building it. He knew this neighborhood well. He'd lived in it for 8 years. Kai saved the document, opened Finder, navigated to the folder on his desktop labeled _graveyard. He dragged the file in. The folder contained 211 items. He sat with that number for a moment. 211 ideas. Some of them were half sentences, the kind you jot at 2 a.m. when your brain mistakes exhaustion for creativity. Some were actual decks, 40, 50 slides, with market analysis and competitive landscapes, and a slide titled, Why Now, that he'd filled in with varying degrees of conviction. One of them had a working prototype. He didn't let himself think about that one too long. His phone buzzed. Elena, in Slack. Hey Kai, making sure you got the agenda. Also, the video I sent Tuesday has some context for the Q2 section. He typed back, on it, 2 words, which was technically true in the sense that he was aware the agenda existed. A gate agent announced something incomprehensible over the intercom. A toddler 3 rows of seats away expressed a strong opinion about this. The man next to Kai smelled faintly of airport pretzels, which Kai now desperately wanted. He looked back at his screen. The graveyard folder was still open, 211 items. He'd never counted before. The number just lived there in Finder, updated automatically, a quiet ledger of everything he'd almost started. Some of the folders had subfolders. One of them was called Research and contained 11 bookmarked articles he'd never read, about an industry he'd never entered, for a company he'd never named. He scrolled. The files were sorted by date modified, newest first. Mood Adaptive Workout App sat at the top, added 4 minutes ago. He kept scrolling, past the lease negotiation tool, past the carbon credit marketplace, past the thing from last year that he still couldn't quite describe but had felt, at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, like the most important idea he'd ever had. He scrolled to the bottom. The oldest file was dated 2019. Kai stared at it for a long moment. He didn't remember putting it there. He didn't remember what was in it. 2019 was the year before everything changed. Before the pandemic, before the job, before he'd learned what it meant to have responsibilities that didn't bend to your midnight enthusiasm. His finger hovered over the trackpad. He opened it, then he closed it. He didn't read a word. He closed the laptop, leaned back in his seat at gate B7, and listened to a toddler narrate the injustice of airport delays with more clarity than he'd managed in 8 years. The boarding announcement came 6 minutes later. He got on the plane. Next episode, the product roadmap for my soul.